This lesson is meant to be an overview of web and media monitoring. It is a primer for looking at this topic from a high level and a guide for suggesting deeper study of the subject area. At the end of this lesson, you will also find a short quiz to test your knowledge of the concepts presented. However, this lesson is not a replacement for additional study. At the end of the lesson, you will find a list of additional references to use to prepare in taking the exam. Internet monitoring is an essential element for any successful exam security program. As the web has become the primary resource for information in the 21st century, it has also become the primary tool for sharing proprietary information, including infringing test content. The primary function of web monitoring is twofold. 1. Detecting infringing content in a timely manner, and 2. Providing a resolution path when such content has been detected. The Internet provides virtually endless opportunities to share illegal content with minimal repercussions. Such content, gone undetected, can quickly propagate, undermining the interests of proprietors. It is imperative that test security breaches be detected and responded to quickly. Thus, vigilance must be a key component of effective web monitoring. However, detection is only half the job. After infringing content is found and verified, the content must be taken down. Whether content removal comes by negotiation or prosecution, a test security plan is not successful until the content has been taken down. You need to be able to control and protect your intellectual property. The purpose of web monitoring is to identify when unauthorized sources have your test content. This can include organized brain dump sites, social media sites, chat rooms, and file sharing. Who are the sellers of these stolen exams? They are sophisticated hackers, translation services, and subject item writers, which also include internal security breach experts. They know how to post solicitations in online forums, send out emails, and purchase pop-up ads posing as legitimate businesses. They know how to build website clusters for attracting test takers who do not mind purchasing the actual test questions if it will give them an edge. No web monitoring tool can be effective unless it is done vigilantly and immediately. Procrastination costs time and money. The longer infringing content is available on the digital landscape, the potential threat for your intellectual property to be exposed increases. The most effective web monitoring will not only detect illegal content, but will begin to predict where, when, and how infringing content is likely to appear. Who is your dedicated team? What are their roles and responsibilities? Who gets notified of the exposure? Create a team and define appropriate responsibilities. At a minimum, you need someone dedicated to monitoring the web for inappropriate discussion and sharing of your exam content. That person would be responsible for communicating with your legal department so they can draft a letter for the purpose of getting exam content removed from websites. It is important to have a pre-approved takedown letter in place so time isn't wasted when an infringement is discovered. The web monitoring team should be ready to act immediately by sending websites a takedown notification as soon as an infringement is found in order to minimize exposure and the spread of test content. Who on your team is following up once the takedown letter has been sent to make sure content is removed? Just because you send a takedown letter supported by the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, does not mean your work is done. Someone needs to be continually monitoring the internet to ensure that content has been removed and the exposure has not been leaked to other websites. If takedown letters are not working, other measures may need to be taken with your legal department. Become very familiar with where your exam candidates congregate. Where and how is your exam discussed? Where do people go to prepare for your exam? And what test prep is offered for your exam? Make sure you are familiar with the nicknames of your exams and how your candidates commonly refer to your test when chatting about it, and use those nicknames in your web searches. Don't rely on individual search engines. Use multiple sources and indexes because each search engine uses different search algorithms and indexing modalities that return unique results. Keywords alone don't always give the most important results. Develop powerful search strings that utilize search operations such as and, or, dash, cite, colon, etc. to get the most valuable results. Perform forward and reverse image searches as well as text searches. Don't rely on automatic tools such as batch searches or web spiders. They can't think in context and are only as good as the keywords they are populated with, so they may miss important infringements that you would easily find searching yourself. Here is a tip to include as part of your web monitoring. Some search engines provide a search tool to look for images, so every time you are monitoring for your exam content, be sure to click on images and see if you find anything that matches your tests. Google and other search engines have an algorithm built in to find similar hits to your keyword search, but you certainly can't rely on this as your sole method of searching. Building relationships with internet site owners and moderators can be very beneficial to your web monitoring efforts. Here are some tips on how to build those relationships. On a regular basis, offer to share a retired actual exam question or some other valuable content for their use and actively participate in the forum thread about that question. Offer the administrators a chance to drive traffic to their site by having a link on yours, if they abide by your zero-tolerance content rules. Post often and try to portray yourself and your company as interesting personalities, not the enemy. Let site administrators know when your testing periods are, so they can be aware of times when infringements are likely to occur. They may be willing to help if they know how much of their time they have to commit. Assign at least one person in your organization to handle the online protection of your testing assets. If the job is overwhelming or you don't have the internal resources, then consider hiring help. Organize a meeting with your legal department to discuss details of what your program considers infringement. Share this information throughout your company so everyone knows where the line has been drawn. Companies have prevented many leaks by having employees and management know what constitutes an infringement. Once you know about who is posting your exam content, then you need to build relationships with the owners of the websites where your exam content is being posted. Not all websites that have your exam content are doing it intentionally. Many websites do not want illegally obtained content on their sites and are more than willing to cooperate and have your content removed. The goal is to keep these owners on your side. Not all instances of copyright infringement are intentional. However, you still have a right to protect your intellectual property even if the infringement is not deliberate. Here are some examples of sites that may unintentionally have your actual exam material. Homework and project help sites, freelancer sites, forums, auction sites such as eBay and Craigslist, as well as Facebook and Twitter. These sites have the honest intention of helping students and test takers. For example, a homework help site such as JustAnswer.com does not want to share stolen material. In fact, they require their registered users sign an agreement that the user's posts are not someone else's property or violate academic honor code. Here is an excerpt from an actual Terms of Use agreement. You are not allowed to and agree not to use any of the solutions, answers, materials, or information available on or through the website, whether in whole or part, to cheat. Examples include submitting any textbook solutions from the website as your own to any class. 2. Any other violation of your instructor's or school's academic honor code. As you can see, many of these sites are making efforts to curb infringements on their site, yet they still occur when members or employees of the sites don't follow the rules. So what can you do? Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, takedown letters are very effective. Occasionally, it is necessary to send multiple letters until the proper person at the website is made aware of the issue and understands that you're serious. Typically, you'll get a response from the website within 24 hours, but if your content is not removed in a timely manner, send another notification. These letters are also successful for international copyright efforts, even though the copyright laws in other countries may differ from yours. For the next few slides, we will discuss some basic elements of copyright and what is protected under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. We'll talk about what it means to have copyright for your exams, what kinds of materials can be protected, what is meant by implied copyright, and how do you enforce the copyright of your exams? The copyright owner has exclusive rights that it can exercise, including rights to reproduce the work which they created. A copyright owner can transfer the copyright to another person or corporation, such as publishing company. Works of authorship include the following categories. 1. Literary works. 2. Musical works, including any accompanying words. 3. Dramatic works, including any accompanying music. 4. Pantomimes and choreographic works. 5. Pictorial, graphics, and sculptural works. 6. Motion pictures and other audiovisual works. 7. Sound recordings. And 8. Architectural works. Test items are considered literary works. Even if you have not registered your test items with the U.S. Copyright Office, you still have limited rights in the form of implied copyright if you are the creator of the work or works that are being infringed. For details of what those rights are in your specific situation, you should confer with your program's legal department. Once you've determined what type of content sharing is crossing the line for your company, you should consider the following. What consequences are there for your test takers who cheat? What format of takedown notification is your legal department comfortable with? 1. Directly contacting the employee, student, or site that posted the infringing content. 2. Sending a friendly takedown letter, or 3. If the initial letter doesn't work, sending a legally recognized DMCA letter. The DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, will be explained in the next slide. Whatever forms of notification your company decides, make sure your legal counsel draft the letters and approve a DMCA template. With your legal counsel forewarned, you should send DMCA or other takedown letters immediately. This will minimize the exposure for your exam content and get what has been exposed removed as soon as possible. A properly formatted DMCA takedown notice must contain the following items. You must identify your copyrighted work. This can be done by listing the exam titles, or you can provide a link to your website where the work is being displayed. Include sufficient information so the copyright agent can identify where the infringing content is being made available without your permission, such as the direct URL. It must include your organization's contact information. You must state that your complaint is being made in good faith, because making a false claim is punishable under federal law. You must also state that, under penalty or perjury, that the information contained in the notification is accurate. It must be signed, and you must be the copyright owner, or the authorized representative of the owner. For further details and examples, follow this link at www.dmca-info.com/sending a DMCA takedown notice. Select an individual on your team to send takedown letters to the websites and have arrangements for that person to send letters immediately to prevent spread of exposure. Know how to find correct WHOIS contact info for the registered owner of the website and the host of that website. The host can help you enforce your rights provided in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA notification. The host has the power to suspend a website if it doesn't remove your content. Unfortunately, websites are allowed to move their sites under a different host as often as they like. It is key to continue monitoring the website to make sure your content is not reposted after you were successful in getting the host to enforce the removal of your material. This happens often, and you will need to send another takedown letter, so be sure you research who the current host of the website is in case the site moved to another host with hope of not being suspended. A WHOIS search will provide information regarding a domain name, such as example.com. It may include information regarding domain ownership, contact information, and names, physical and email address. A WHOIS search can also tell you where and when the domain was registered, the expiration date, and the name servers assigned to the domain. Having this information is the first step in contacting the website owners and ultimately taking down infringing content. However, some sites are cloaked through privacy services. Posts by individuals in social media, forums, chat rooms, and discussion groups will not show up in a WHOIS search. In those situations, a web monitor must take other actions, including contacting the individual directly through the forum to start content takedown protocols. As the internet becomes more pervasive in sharing test information, the role of comprehensive web monitoring is critical. If an internet monitoring system quickly and effectively detects infringing content and provides a way to remove that content from the web, it will be successful in facilitating the protection of your intellectual property. Here are the primary resources you should review in preparation for deeper understanding in the area of web and media monitoring. These resources can also be found on the CESP website, www.cespcert.org/resources.